80 years ago this week, Britain declared war on Nazi Germany, which had, on the 1st of September 1939, invaded Poland. Within months, Britain stood alone with the Hitlerite forces at the Channel ports, an imminent invasion feared, expected by everyone. 80 years later, Boris Johnson calls a 5-day extra holiday for Parliament, and the British bourgeoisie goes into hysterics. And I'm talking bourgeois leftists as well as rightists. The mass media, the Parliamentary Labour Party, virtually all of them, the Liberals, the Guardian, the EU fanatics, triggered by a 5-day prorogation. They've gone to court, they've threatened to block bridges, occupy streets, even called for a general strike, as if a single worker in Britain would down tools for Diane Abbott and Paul Mason and the European Union. In 1939, this week, our children were queuing calmly for gas masks. Our soldiers and volunteers were digging air raid shelters. The whole country faced up to the threat that we faced with unity. And under the slogan, we must all go forward together. 80 years later, this country has probably never been so divided. They call it a coup, but in fact, the coup is them. They say that the government has pulled a coup over Parliament, but it's Parliament that has been operating a coup against the will of the British people. It's quite simple, really. It's no longer even about Brexit. It's about democracy. If people vote not knowing if their vote is going to count, or if it's going to be stolen from them, or if they win, if that victory will be robbed in front of their eyes, democracy no longer means anything at all. That's why I say you can campaign to rejoin the European Union if you like, and you won't have much by way of political traction if you do, but the decision of the Brexit referendum to leave the European Union just must be implemented. And anyone who stands in the way of it is not a champion of democracy, but is in fact an enemy of democracy. This week in Parliament, it will be a state of complete chaos and panic. Nobody knows how this week will play out, but there are only two ways that it can. Either Brexit is achieved this week, or we have a general election. The fact that Tony Blair is out in the media cautioning against a general election merely buttresses my determination, which has been now for at least 3 years, that Britain needs a new parliament. This rotten, discredited, deceiving, cheating parliament must be swept away, and the people must be allowed to elect a new government. How that will play out remains to be seen. And of course, I have my preferences, as do you. But one thing is for sure, we can't go on like this. We need to unite as a people, keep calm, carry on, implement the decision to Brexit.